All right, we're going to rock and roll here on the program. Conversational show with my man Judah Wickower over here. Feeds are slowly going up. Like and share the show. Like and share the show. Judah, you're on YouTube and LinkedIn. Check.
All right.
I'll check. We're live on my personal Facebook. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. Live on Twitter, Judah. Live on my personal Facebook page. Whatever platform you watch upon, search I Love CVille and follow us or like the page, please. That would mean a lot to us. Can you do that? Do me that favor? We work hard for you. That's the only thing we ask in return. Yesterday's show I thought was really good. Today's show I think is primed to be good as well. Zoning continues to be in the news. Do you think the August 13th zoning reconsideration hearing is strictly from formality? Does the judge go in there? I mean, and obviously I don't know what it's like to be a judge. Does he go in there with an open mind, or does he say, like, you guys are asking me to reconsider my decision, and if I reconsider my decision, then I just look like a fool?
I don't know. Would it be, I wonder if it would be within the bounds of the law to impose a penalty on them, but still go ahead with the trial. Because, frankly, they have a decent point. They are ready to.
I don't think they have a decent point.
You don't think they have a decent point?
They missed a deadline. Like,
Yeah.
That's the most basic.
I'm not disputing that.
It's flat. It's like not showing up for a closing in real estate.
Yeah.
It's flabbergasting to me. Like and share the show. We're live on LinkedIn. John Blair, thank you for hitting the like button on LinkedIn. I get a notification for that, and that helps me realize that we're live on LinkedIn. An engineering professor at the University of Virginia analyzed the Microsoft Teams data. And the Microsoft Teams data suggests that the 40-hour work week is an absolute thing in the past. Remember, one of the commentaries that I've gotten the most resistance on this talk show is when I said that Charlottesville and Albemarle County are no longer 40-hour work week communities. They are now 60-hour plus work week communities. And dude, my inbox got absolutely flooded. I'm talking straight up inundated with hate on that commentary. Like, hate on that commentary. The UVA engineering professor, Liddy Klotz, Professor Klotz analyzed data that Microsoft released in a recent report that suggests the 9-to-5 work week is an absolute afterthought. Data points collected from trillions of globally aggregated and anonymized Microsoft 365 productivity signals revealed eyebrow-raising behaviors in the workforce. We'll talk about that data today. We're live on YouTube, J-Dubs?
Yep. Great.
We can rock and roll here when you are ready.
Quiet on the set.
Quiet on the set.
It's coming down out there.
Is it still raining? Come on now.
Raining worse. I didn't think it was supposed to rain
Don't do
until
this to us.
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Rock.
These summer storms. I mean, it's like a rainforest. Charlottesville's turned into a rainforest.
Yeah.
Welcome to the I Love CVille show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us live in our studio in the Macklin Building on Market Street. in the heartbeat of Charlottesville and Central Virginia. I don't know where you're watching the show right now, but in the last 10 minutes, a thunderstorm has now graced us with its presence. Viewers and listeners in Charlottesville and Albemarle and in Central Virginia, has this not been one of the soggiest summers that you can imagine?
No doubt.
It is constantly raining. I feel like we're in a Brazilian rainforest here in Charlottesville and in Central Virginia. It is soggy beyond belief, and now yet another heat summer storm surprises the Apple app, the iPhone app, and meteorologists and weather people out there. Goodness gracious, to have a profession where when you're right 25% of the time, I mean, it's
People applaud you.
Meteorologists and Major League Baseball players that can be right 25 to 30% of the time and keep their job. In the case of Major League Baseball, if you're right 30% of the time, you're going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. They'll give you a gold or brass or copper bus, whatever material those Hall of Fame heads are made out of. Anyway, a lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. Judah Wickower will join us in a matter of moments. The show is, the focus of the show is entertainment, education, and enlightenment with a lens on Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia. We have a deadline, a new deadline. Goodness gracious, how many deadlines have we had? For this zoning reconsideration hearing, August 13th. My standpoint, if this goes to in front of Judge Worrell on the 13th of August and he says, hey, I made a mistake, I'm going to reconsider the default judgment, I'm going to offer some grace and empathy, it's just going to make him look bad. But, we'll talk about that with Judah Wickower. Danville Councilman Lee Vogler was set on fire yesterday, attacked and set on fire. Lee Vogler has joined us on the I Love CVille show multiple times. Mm-hmm. When he came on the I Love CVille show, when he joined me on the show via Danville, via Skype or Zoom via Danville, I said to Councilman Lee Vogler, goodness gracious, you have a congressman or a senator vibe to you. Yesterday, some lunatic went into his place of employment, Showcase Magazine, doused him with gasoline, and then chased after him around his office and lit him on fire before fleeing from the police. Thank the Lord he was apprehended minutes later in a run or a fleeing scenario from the Popo. Councilman Lee Vogler, our thoughts and prayers with you, your young children, your wife, and your family, and what is a developing story that is terrifying. Right now, the police are saying that the attack, the live burning, was not politics related. I'm very curious to see what the motive of this will be. We'll talk about that on today's show. We'll talk Charlottesville Area Transit seeking a third-party firm to handle its ads on its buses. What do you think the value of the ads on those buses are? I'll have that conversation with Judah and you, the viewer and listener. What are the value of the ads on the buses on Charlottesville Area Transit? Goodness gracious, this rain is almost torrential right now. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, will we see a migration from brick and mortar restaurants to food trucks at a greater clip or frequency locally? You're starting to see some new food trucks and food trailers popping up around town, folks. Are we going to see a migration from the brick and mortar food and beverage business to the food and beverage business on wheels that's mobile? That conversation on today's show. The ACC media has picked the University of Virginia football team, Tony Elliott's team, in a preseason poll, 14th out of 17 teams. That's pretty awful, frankly, especially for a head coach, Tony Elliott, who is coaching for his job in his fourth year. His first 3 years, Tony Elliott has the least amount of wins of any head coach, any program, and all of power college football. This is a make-or-break year for Virginia, in a year where they spent millions, I'm talking millions and millions of dollars in money to tantalize, recruit, romanticize, seduce, lure college athletes to Charlottesville to wear the orange and blue, NIL compensation. A couple of items I want to get out of the notebook before I ask you, Judah, which headline most intrigues you and why. This headline really boggled my wife, and she said, Judah, we led with the wrong headline. Do you have the tidbit from yesterday, Judah Wickower, with 8th graders?
Yeah.
What was the stat? I wrote it on a notepad that's on my desk if you need me to get it. Do you still have the tidbit? Are you on a 2-shot?
No, not yet.
Let's get Judah Wickower on a 2-shot. Valuable contributor to the show. I really think Judah has blossomed on this talk show, and his commentary, I think, is a very, very good compliment to what I try to do here. What's the public school data performance source first, and then I'm most curious of the 8th grade metric.
Oh, let me find the source. The 8th grade metric is that 29% of 8th graders do not. Only 29% have both proficiency in math and reading.
Okay, so yesterday when I got home, my wife, who watches the show, said you positioned that metric the wrong way. You said 29% of Virginia public school 8th graders, and you're going to give us the source here in a matter of moments when you find it. You and Judah said yesterday, and she included you in the mix. She said you and Judah said yesterday that 29% of Virginia public school 8th graders are proficient levels for 8th grade reading and math.
Yeah.
She says the stat should have been presented this way. 71% of Virginia public school 8th graders are below expectations, below proficiency standards with reading and math.
Yeah.
She says that's the stat.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's 71% of Virginia public school 8th graders are not on grade level with reading and math. That is, ladies and gentlemen, are you hearing that? Mm-hmm. Give me the source when you have it. We spent a lot of time on it yesterday. We had feedback from Deep Throat, from Ginny Who, and from our key members of our I Love CVille family. But first thing she told me when I got home yesterday, I watched the show, fascinating discussion. How you should have presented this data was that 71% of 8th graders in public schools in the Commonwealth of Virginia are not at basic proficiency levels for reading and math as they head into high school. And at the 8th grade level, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They're too far along to correct this demoralizing and very disturbing turn of events or trend or story. What's the source?
The source is the the NAEP, National Assessment of Educational Progress. And those numbers are all from them. It is troubling data, but I would like to see more information on it, like how far behind is that 71%? Like, are they not able to read or compute numbers, add, subtract? Like, how bad is it? Are they stuck at 3rd grade level? Are they stuck at 4th grade level? Are they pretty close? I kind of doubt that they're like a grade behind, but even that's telling, I think.
It's a great question. Marlene Jones, watching the program, she says, YouTube, no sound. I'm listening to the YouTube feed here, Marlene Jones, and we do have sound. I just put my earbud in and am listening to it on YouTube, so we should have sound. Maybe that's on your end. I do want you to get sound because we value your opinion, Marlene. I wanted to start the show. I thought I thought that's a metric, a key performance indicator that should be out there.
Yeah.
If you're a public school parent right now, you should be holding your school board officials, your superintendent and his or her cabinet, your principals and vice principals, very accountable. Because if we have 71% of 8th graders in public schools in the Commonwealth that are not proficient in the 8th grade at reading and writing, at reading and math.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the most basic elements that you get coming out of high school and are just the basics of life.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Logan Wells Claylow, welcome to the show. Marlene Jones, we hope you are listening to the program. Like and share the show. A lot I want to cover on the broadcast as radio, television, and print is watching the show. Georgia Gilmer, Jason Noble, Kevin Yancey, Scott Beyer, Lloyd Snook, Travis Hackworth. Travis Hackworth, we appreciate you setting the headline about Lee Vogler, Katie Pearl, Matt Neese, Tom Powell. Some of the viewers and listeners watching the program. We have elected officials, city officials, county officials, bankers, financiers, attorneys, architects, developers. It runs the gambit of blue-collar and white-collar folks watching the program. Travis Hackworth in Danville says on the Lee Vogler story, if you want to put the Lee Vogler headline up on screen first, I know we're going out of order. Travis watches the program routinely in Danville, Virginia. Travis, we appreciate you watching the show. I'm sorry if I don't always respond to your Facebook messages, but we certainly like the content you sent us. Unfortunately, this piece of content is extremely sad. Lee Vogler has come on the I Love CVille show multiple times.
Yeah.
If you have not seen this story, he was working yesterday in Danville at his place of employment, Showcase Magazine, when a maniac, a deranged maniac, went into his place of business and drenched and doused him in gasoline. Lee Vogler, after being drenched and doused with gasoline, sprinted and ran for his life as this deranged maniac had a lighter or matches in his hand ready to burn Lee Vogler alive. And as he was sprinting and running away, doused and drenched in gasoline from this deranged maniac in his place of employment, the deranged maniac, sadly and unfortunately, was a bit quicker than Mr. Vogler, caught up to him, ignited him, and according to ABC 13 News, according to audio obtained by ABC 13 News from first responders, Lee Vogler received third-degree burns to 63% of his body, including his torso, arms, and leg. His condition is still unknown. ABC 13 News also obtained the criminal complaint filed against the deranged maniac. In the complaint, police said they took him into custody and interviewed him. The deranged maniac was taken into custody and during an interview admitted that he had dumped gasoline onto Vogler. The deranged maniac was charged with attempted first-degree murder and aggravated malicious wounding after the attack. This morning, the deranged maniac was arraigned in court. He asked for a court-appointed lawyer. His trial date has not been set. He's being held in Danville City Jail without bond. I am a God-fearing man. And in the Bible, it specifically mentions an eye for an eye. I have little empathy, patience, little goodwill in my heart, second chance opportunity in my heart for a man who douses and drenches another human with gasoline and tries to burn him alive.
Yeah.
Vogler, a promising politician, a phenomenal evangelist of Danville that is very much on the upswing, a casino in its backyard. Vogler had a lot to do with that. A guy that was senatorial, a guy that had U.S. congressmen written all over him. Most importantly, a father and a husband, 2 young children. Sad story. Precious life.
Yeah. And he knew his assailant.
The police are saying that this was not tied to any Vogler positions from a politics standpoint, but as Judah said, the deranged maniac and Lee Vogler were acquaintances.
Yeah.
Terrible story. Pray for this man, his children, and his wife.
Yeah.
Vanessa Parkhill's photo on screen. She says public school parents are not the only ones who should be holding leadership accountable for the underperformance of area students. Taxpayers are clearly not getting our money's worth. We are paying Versace prices and getting dollar store results. Our kids deserve better. We all deserve better. Fantastic commentary from the Queen of Earlysville. This is what I don't understand on the Virginia public school story, where 71% of 8th graders are not at 8th grade or are not proficient at reading and math.
Yeah.
71% of Virginia public school 8th graders, folks. That is mind-boggling to me. you look at the cost per pupil, the cost to educate a pupil over the year as it applies locally, say Albemarle County, that number has substantially increased over the year. The cost to educate a pupil, if memory serves correctly, this is something that's up Deep Throat's alley. Frankly,
Keeps going up.
if someone could find this number for us, I can't do it in the midst of a live show. The cost to educate a pupil in Albemarle County is north of 20 grand a student.
Yeah.
20 grand plus a year to educate a student in Albemarle County Public Schools. And the number keeps going up. But the performance scores keep going down.
Yeah,
Where
I've
is
got,
the...
I've got some more numbers. This is from nationsreportcard.gov, and it's the Virginia state profile. The Virginia complete results show in mathematics for 2024, at or above basic was 63%, at or above proficient was 29%, at advanced was 8%. The 29% at or above proficient is down from, looks like the high was in 2017 of actually that was 40%. Reading 2024 also at 29% proficient is down from a high of 37 in 2017.
What gives here?
Yeah.
I have a sincere question for you. I don't have the answer for this. This is a sociologist or an anthropologist study waiting to happen. Do we point to COVID as yet more collateral damage for COVID for public schools and their diminishing return on investment as it applies to our kids?
That's a tough one for me to answer, not having a child, but I'm sure it didn't help.
Some of the dynamics we saw firsthand during COVID, my wife and I, some of those dynamics we saw firsthand. Yes, I'm going to get to a text message that I received from someone of influence that will remain anonymous. Some of the dynamics we saw, my wife and I, during COVID are why we chose our oldest, who's a rising second grader, to put in private school. And goodness gracious, is it expensive. Would we like not to pay this? Yes. But is there anything more important to us, my wife and I, than our two sons? No. So we sacrifice. Would we love flashy new cars and expensive trips and extravaganza and pomp and circumstance? Absolutely. Who doesn't? Deeper retirement, deeper 401ks, deeper Roths, more investment property, more commercial investment? Hells to the yeah. But our kids are our most important, so we sacrifice and we do it. Text message from a man of influence. That's going to be his new moniker, man of influence. This is a direct result of COVID. Those kids missed second and third grade because of COVID. He's talking about the 8th graders. They missed second and third grade.
Yeah.
I've said this so many times on this program, with a benefit of a generation of hindsight. With a generation of hindsight's benefit, 2020, we're going to point back at COVID and say this pandemic impacted Charlottesville, tremendously gentrified it.
Yeah.
Transplants, carpetbaggers, nomads, work from ISPs, from expensive firms, well-paying firms outside of Central Virginia, but living in the Charlottesville-Albemarle County area in our tighty-whities and our BVDs and our bathrobes, earning big dollar, big city paychecks while living in Charlottesville. Housing values escalation because of 2 and 3% interest rates, bonanza with real estate, a market bonanza. From 2019 until now, real estate values in the greater Charlottesville-Albemarle County area have appreciated 40 to 60%, depending on where you're at. Pockets like Ivy, I got a feel for this now, pockets like Ivy, Virginia, escalated even more than that, ladies and gentlemen. Pockets in the city of Charlottesville, like North Downtown, certain aspects of Belmont, certain aspects of Locust, certain aspects of the Blue Ridge neighborhood in the city of Charlottesville, the appreciation from pre and post-COVID, obscene appreciation. The public schools have cratered performance-wise. The private schools enrollment have upticked dramatically. The gap educationally between private and public and the return on investment you're getting is wider than ever. The wealth gap is wider than ever. It ravaged and raped small businesses while prioritizing and jet fueling big box brands and Fortune 50 and Fortune 100 companies. COVID did. When the government says, stay at home, we'll give you free money, order online, changed human behavior, changed shopping patterns. Generation of hindsight, you wait and see, and we'll say, this changed Charlottesville forever in ways that we don't even appreciate right now. All right, a lot we're going to cover here at the 12:58 marker of the I Love CVille show. Tom Powell says, the founder of Toylift, his thoughts and prayers are with the Lee Vogler family. I try not to speak for Judah, but I would imagine he's of the same ilk and mindset.
I've raised several prayers for Lee and his family since I first found out.
Crazy stuff. Next lead headline, what do we got? Is this the court hearing?
Yeah, judge sets reconsideration hearing.
You want to set the table or should I?
Go ahead.
I mean, what is there to set here? The judge was petitioned by the city, and the judge was asked by the city to reconsider a default judgment. The judge says, all right, I'll reconsider a default judgment, and sets a date for August the 13th to reconsider a default judgment tied to a missed filing deadline. One of the most junior varsity amateur of mistakes possible an attorney can make.
Yeah.
Missing a deadline. If the judge on the 13th of August says, all right, I thought about this again, I was wrong, I'll give you some grace, this can move forward, this makes the judge look foolish, does it not? Make a case where the judge doesn't look foolish if he says, I'll reconsider what I say. Make a case for that.
Okay. Here's how I would put it. He doesn't necessarily have to change his ruling, but I think it's fair that this was a case that was ready to be heard, and I, for one, think that it would be useful to at least hear both sides in court, whether or not the judge decides to change his ruling.
I'm trying not to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Your reasoning and your opinion is valuable here. Keep going if you have more that you want to add.
No, I just think that...
Hasn't he not heard both sides? As I interrupt you right there, I apologize. Hasn't he not heard both sides already? What more does he need to hear?
I don't know.
It's just humiliating. This is comedy of errors.
I think you and I are both in agreement that the city would be far better served by coming to a resolution privately with the
plaintiffs.
The plaintiffs.
And we're hearing insider talk from plaintiffs. I mean, hell, Lloyd Snook said this on the radio, that those negotiations, the city with the plaintiffs are going nowhere. And we're hearing insider talk that the city is not negotiating in good faith with the plaintiffs. This is just embarrassing.
Yeah.
If the judge says, I'll allow it to go forward, I'll change my mind, it's embarrassing for him. It's embarrassing for the city because they hired lawyers that missed a deadline, and they were supposed to manage those deadlines. And the plaintiffs, if this judge changes his mind, more money out of their pocket.
And potentially a good reason for, what do you call it, a retrial or a mistrial or whatever you want to call it, or for them to bring it to a different court.
So now we wait till August the 13th for a man who lives in the city and owns a house in the city, whose wife is a zoning activist, politics for the zoning, to make a decision?
I think he's shown himself to be fairly.
Well, he did up to this point. If he changes his mind, he doesn't.
He's giving him. Yeah, that's fair.
Next headline. What do you got?
Let's see.
Let me get to a comment first. We got comments coming from Marlene Jones. She said, I understand your take. I'm going to paraphrase for Marlene Jones. We love when Marlene Jones watches the program. She says, I understand your take with COVID, but from the positives of COVID, should we not consider the number of humans that did not die?
Is that the counterpoint to
schools being closed, people told to shelter in place? It wasn't sheltering in place. What were we told to do by the government?
I think it was.
Shelter in place is when you have like an active shooter.
Yeah.
To be recluses, to basically have agoraphobia. What was it called? What did the government tell us to do when we couldn't leave the house, viewers and listeners? What was the word?
I think it was shelter in place.
No, shelter in place was when we have an active shooter. What's the word? Put it in the feed, somebody. I'll give you props. Can't believe I'm drawing a blank. I always draw a blank on the word. Whatever it is.
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Stay at home order.
Okay. We'll say, don't leave your house. Are you going to buy what she's saying? I respect her tremendously. She's a great viewer and listener of our fine and fair talk show. Do you buy what she's saying? At least more people didn't die.
That's hard to quantify.
Of course it's hard to quantify because people are getting COVID left and right now and they're not dying.
Yeah.
People are getting COVID multiple times right now left and right and they're not dying. Okay, I'm going to say this. Some people will hate what I'm about to say. The COVID pandemic was exploited by Democrats and politicians to influence an election. The COVID pandemic was exploited, manipulated, disingenuous tactics to mom fear and scare Americans.
I certainly think some of that is true.
They used mom fear, human fear, to influence an election. And what they never anticipated happening was the pandemic yielding interest rates at 2-3% levels, which undoubtedly impacted American housing. Mm-hmm. They never anticipated the free money causing inflation like it did. Of course, if you give Americans free money, it's going to cause inflation. They never anticipated, when exploiting the pandemic, giving people free money and telling them to stay at home, that it was going to change their human behavior, drive third-party ordering through food and beverage, ravaging locally owned and operated businesses, locally owned and operated restaurants, and driving business to big box brands like Costco, Walmart, Target, and away from the local ones that we loved, changing migration and living patterns, how people work, causing tremendous headwinds for commercial real estate, specifically office. Let me ask you a question, viewers and listeners. I went, got my physical. Thank goodness I was okay. Went and got my physical recently, the last few weeks. The nurse practitioner that saw me said, do you want the COVID shot? I said, no. She says, I don't blame you. I wouldn't take it either. Pediatrician. 2 boys, 7 and 2.5-year-olds. You want to give them the COVID shot when they went into the office? No. You know what they said at the pediatrician's office? I don't blame you. Wouldn't give it to my kids either. They rushed a vaccine through without proper data and testing. Remember?
I don't know that it wasn't proper, but it was definitely rushed through.
Hastily.
It was definitely rushed through.
Okay. Carol Thorpe watching the self-quarantine, she says the word. Quarantine, Vanessa Parkhill, thank you.
Yep, stay-at-home order.
Come on. With the benefit of hindsight in 2025, if you don't see what I just said right now, then we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I am very comfortable on the hill of my commentary right now. Very comfortable.
I would say it definitely harmed more than it helped.
And the people it harmed more than it helped were the people on the margin already.
Yeah.
The people on the margin already. Mm-hmm. The people that were in a position of power and influence and wealth only got more power, influence, and wealth. John Blair on LinkedIn, his photo on screen. Jerry, on the rain front, Stanton typically averages 4.6 inches of rain in July. We've had 12.2 inches of rain so far in July in Stanton, with perhaps another storm this afternoon. As to education, COVID is part of the answer. But I think another issue is this. We need to go back to some form of tracking. We got away from this in past years. This was supposed to help kids who struggled, but I think the data is picking up that it is hurting those kids.
Yeah.
If you track, you can better direct resources and teaching capacity to the kids struggling while letting the high achievers go further. But having everyone on the exact same track just doesn't appear to be working. Finally, I very much pray for Lee Vogler. John Blair, a good man right there. Great comment from John Blair.
Yeah.
Next headline, what do you got? Carol Thorpe in the Jack Jewett District. We love when you watch the program. Chris Kabash, I promise you I'm going to give you a call on this deal that we're working on. I'm on air right now. Conan Owen of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia watching the program. Let's highlight Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Conan Owen owns Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. It's locally owned and operated. He is the owner and the CEO. He is a Darden School graduate. If you have a logo and you need visibility for the logo, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia is who you call. This step and repeat banner that's directly behind me is courtesy of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Signage, window decals, direct mail, stickers, anything branding wise, Conan Owen, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. Elected officials from Nelson, Orange, Louisa, Charlottesville, Albemarle, and one delegate that I see watching the program right now. Bob Yarborough, welcome to the broadcast. Next headline, Judah Wickhauer. Put it on screen.
Next headline is the 40-hour work week.
Vanessa Parkhill is 100% right. Jerry, what you're saying now, the people who said it in 2021 were canceled for questioning the policies. Ugh. And in 2021, viewers and listeners, all the comments I said about COVID, I said it on this show, on this platform. During the peak of COVID, we did the I Love CVille show in our office, in studio, unmasked. When people came into this office, I had to get a measuring tape out. When Keith Smith was here, and we literally, before the show started, while we were on camera and said, viewers and listeners, here's a measuring tape, we stretched it across the table and showed that we were 6 feet apart. Some people came in here with a mask on. Some people hated me for what I was saying on the show. Now those same people applaud us for saying what we said on the show.
I don't know if the same people.
Some of them do.
I mean, there are people that are still walking around, driving around with masks on.
Can anyone explain the individual who drives around in a car, sitting in a car by themselves?
Their own car.
Their own car by themselves while driving, while wearing a mask. I don't care if you wear a mask. I could give 2 Fs if you wear a mask. I say this all the time on the show. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what mask you wear, if you wear a mask. I don't care. Just don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me who to vote for. Don't tax me. Don't infringe upon my rights. The 40-hour work week. Judah, I've never gotten more hate on this program than when I said that Charlottesville and Albemarle County were no longer 40-hour work weeks. Juan Sarmiento, are you watching the program? You pushed back on me when I said that, Juan Sarmiento. Judah Wickhauer ripped me for this. I've never seen Judah more angry than when I said, Judah, where you live is not a 40-hour work week anymore.
Because you were pointing out a trend that is terrifying when taken to its logical extreme.
I'm now going to give you some data. Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. You can find this on UVA Today, news.virginia.edu. The headline, Q&A, what is the infinite workday and what can we do to prevent it? I'm going to read a few paragraphs. data points collected from trillions of globally aggregated Microsoft 365 productivity signals revealed enough eyebrow-raising behaviors in the workforce that the technology conglomerate is labeling it the infinite workday. Listen to this, viewers and listeners. It starts in the early morning. The report found 40% of people who are online at 6 a.m. are checking their emails. I am a part of that. I wake up in the 6 o'clock hour, and the first thing I do is grab my phone next to my nightstand and check my email. And then check my calendar and look at the futures on CNBC. I'll go back to the UVA Today article. It goes until late at night. The report also found meetings after 8 p.m. are up 16% over last year. I am a part of that. I probably 1 to 2 days a week have a phone call with a client on some kind of deal that I'm working after 8 p.m. because my clients are working and they can't take these calls during their workday because they're working. So if they're doing investments or some kind of brokerage or some kind of private equity, they're talking to me after their workday when they're done with dinner with their kids. I probably have 1 to 2 of those a week. So I'll give you those numbers again. Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams data. 40% of people are online who are online at 6 a.m. are checking their emails. The report also found meetings after 8 p.m. are up 16% over last year. That makes an individual's work pattern significantly different than when a certain country music star, Dolly Parton, said, "We're working 9 to 5."
Yep.
Unbelievable. The report also notes an overflow of workplace communication, citing employees receiving an average of 153 Microsoft Teams messages per weekday. Jesus Christ.
That was nuts when I read that.
153 Microsoft Teams messages. That's like text messages, is what that is.
Yeah.
And on a workday. That's the average.
It's nuts.
Then a University of Virginia professor of engineering, Letty Klotz. Is that how you think I say his name? Letty Klotz?
Letty?
This is a guy.
This is a guy. This is a man.
This is a man. He's a professor in the School of Engineering and Applied Science and Behavioral Science Research. Starts doing a Q&A on this.
Yeah. He wrote a book called Subtract, the Untapped Science of Less, which argues learning to strategically subtract can lead to a simpler, smarter, and more impactful solutions to everyday problems.
This professor's... Go ahead.
I agree.
This professor says the average American encounters 100,000 words per day. Now imagine trying to do your best thinking while managing 50-plus after-hour emails and last-minute meeting requests. This gets back to our story that we led with. The 8th grader in Virginia public schools, 71% of Virginia public school 8th graders are not proficient in reading and math.
Yeah.
The engineering professor is saying the average American is encountering 100,000 words per day. If the 8th grader in Virginia public schools, 71% of them can't effing read, and the average American right now is encountering 100,000 words per day, the 71% of 8th graders are ducked. Quack, 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 quack. They are ducked.
Yeah.
I think about what he's saying here.
I know. I think the bigger problem is that, as he says, and I think I think this is largely referring to bigger businesses, companies that have a lot of employees. They expect them all to be on these Microsoft Teams messages, or at least they send them around to all the people, and he makes note of all these emails and messages that get sent before and after work, and the fact that as you were mentioning, you're talking about dealing with 100,000 words a day, trying to do your best, thinking while managing 50 plus 50 plus after hours emails and last minute meeting requests. And he goes on to say there are real biological limits to how much information we can process. And I would also argue that we don't do our best thinking when we have too much information to process. If you're being whipped with a horse whip to do more and go faster and answer all these emails and join all these meetings and whatnot, essentially that doesn't leave you time to your mind needs time to rest. Like sometimes I do my best problem solving when I've got time to not think about the problem. If I'm sitting there thinking about the problem or working or just, like going nonstop, full tilt, that doesn't leave me any time for, it's almost like when you dream. Your subconscious is like working through problems, working through issues that you might not have in the forefront of your consciousness. In the same way, problem solving, I believe, requires time to sit back and let the information work behind the scenes. And oftentimes it's when, oftentimes I'll be at a complete stop with a problem. No idea how to figure it out. And then I stop thinking about it. And an hour, 2 hours, a day later, the solution pops into my head.
I am absolutely envious and jealous that you have that
That
opportunity and ability and time.
That doesn't mean that I stop thinking about it. Oftentimes I can't stop thinking about the problem. But the point is that I'm not focusing on the problem. Sometimes you set it aside and it takes care of itself.
I am the absolute opposite.
I know.
Lane of traffic of you. Mm-hmm. To put this in perspective, when we went, my family, to the beach on Long Island for 2 weeks, just a short while ago when we were off air. Mm. 2 deals that I've been working on for months, all the deal flow started moving at an aggressive rate. I spent an unfortunate amount of hours on our vacation, on the phone, or crafting responses, negotiating, positioning, and away from my wife, our kids, and our family. Mm-hmm. One of those deals literally is closing right now on the show with the DocuSign now signed by both parties and the funds about to be released from a noteworthy attorney's escrow account. Everyone getting paid as we're speaking right now. But if I had not have done what I did during that vacation, morning, noon, and night, we would not be in this position right now. I will say this another time. People can go about their business and their life in any way they want. And if people choose to go a 9 to 5, like Dolly Parton said, like Judah likes to do, I champion, I give you props, flying chest bumps, go for it. All for it. You and I will do the exact opposite of that.
You're in a particular case. I don't know whether
I don't think I'm in a particular case, my friend. I think there's
are.
boatloads of people like me that are grinding around the clock year round, even if they're not at work, sitting at work, even if they're not at work, sitting at work, at a desk doing a work, they're driving around thinking about work. They're on the phone doing work. I don't have to, I say this to my wife all the time, I don't have to be at work to be working, and she knows that. She's like, where's your mind right now? We're watching a movie. We're watching Waterfront on Netflix yesterday in bed. I'm literally on my phone reading about something that I'm trying to do. She's like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be watching Waterfront on Netflix. I say I can do more than one thing at once. She says, can you give me your attention for a short period of time, please?
See, this article is not about you, though. It's not about that type of work, because you're choosing to do that.
Jared, I'm not choosing to do that. I'm
Sure.
doing this because we do this for the business. You don't think my choice would rather be have six? My choice would rather be play squash, play padel in the morning, work out after that, have a couple of Mai Tais or rum punches for lunch, pass out poolside in a haze, wake up by jumping in the deep end, refreshed and sober up, go out to a lobster crab stuffed dinner, have some nightcap cocktails while enjoying time with my kids and my wife and not thinking about work at all? You don't think I'd rather do that?
I think a lot of people would rather do that.
I would absolutely rather do that. But for us to be able to do that, I have to do this. For you to be able to do what you do, I have to do this.
Okay.
I'm not trying to fight.
I know. I disagree. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you couldn't defer some of those things to a specified time in your day, but I think the fact of the matter is that this article is 100% talking about people working in big corporations who get inundated with a lot of stuff that they don't need to get inundated by, and he is talking about people continually having these not distractions, but whatever you want to call them, whether they're emails, texts,
The Teams messages.
whatever, workplace communications. He's talking about they keep adding and they never take anything away. Like the title of his book, Subtract: The Untapped Science of Less.
Neil Williamson shares a link. President of the Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson. Support the Free Enterprise Forum. He does fantastic work. Neil Williamson on the comment section of my Facebook page, facebook.com/Jerry Miller. Now hit the follow button on my Facebook page. He shares a link to the UVA professor's book, Subtract: The Untapped Science of Less. If you could please, and you only have to do this between work hours. Only do this between work hours, please. Could you email Letty Klotz, and let's see if we can get this professor on the show to talk about this.
Yeah.
Only do this during work hours, not post-work hours, not at the 6 a.m. marker. I won't send you a Teams request to do this, and certainly do not do the meeting after 8 p.m.
Right.
Letty Klotz. Let's see if we can get him on the show in person. Neil Williamson says, from Subtract, the summary on Amazon, we pile on to-dos, but don't consider stop-doings. We create incentives for good behavior, but don't get rid of obstacles to it. We collect new and improved ideas, but don't prune the outdated ones. Every day across challenges, big and small, we neglect a basic way to make things better. We don't subtract.
Yeah.
Kevin Yancey throwing shade and hate my way. I knew it was coming. Kevin Yancey's photo on screen. Being utterly obsessed with money and material things will drive people to work like you do, Jerry. You'll realize later in life what you've missed in your life pursuing the almighty dollar. Kevin Yancey. To each their own. Tomato, tomato. I'm not going to throw shade. Barbara Becker-Tiller, 100% Judah, giving you props. Her photo on screen. Jerry, you have the luxury of not having to clock in and out. The general person does not have that luxury. I am happy to grind all day for my benefit, but not for the gain of someone else.
Yeah, that's the point that she makes the point far better than I did. Yeah, of course I want to work 9 to 5, because at some point, like
You do work 9 to 5.
Yes, that is the point. The point is that I'm doing it for someone else. If I work overtime, how much do I make? And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a boss in a corporation who's saying, "Why don't you stay late?" Who's saying, "You don't put in the extra effort." And
I've never said that.
I'm not pointing fingers at you.
Okay, every time you have stayed late working in this business, what do I do the next day? What do I do? I know, I'm not trying to get argumentative, but what do I say the next day?
I'll get you out early.
Okay, so if you grind an hour late past you're supposed to today, I get you out an hour early the next day. Do I not?
You do.
Every time.
You do. And what I'm talking about is the fact that in most cases, someone working for a corporation who's being asked,
would not do that.
Why don't you push harder? Why don't you work longer? Why don't you put in more effort?
Yeah, it's called being on salary.
And the response is, what do I get out of this?
It's called a bonus. It's called a potential promotion. It's called a relationship with your employer
Is
who
it,
has
though?
the keys to your salary, your professional totem pole, your
And-
verticality.
That's
why the people who work for a Blackstone or a BlackRock or a JP Morgan Chase, a Bank of America, heck, one of the law firms in Court Square, the ones that choose to work in their tighty-whities or the BVDs or their bathrobes through an internet service provider at their home, versus the ones that come into work and sit next to their boss and grind in Cubicle City, the ones, if it's equal work, the ISP worker in their tighty-whities in their basement are the one that puts on the suit and goes into Cubicle City and grinds next to their boss. Who do you think is going to get more fruits of the labor?
Yeah, I get it.
The guy who comes in and grinds and has the relationship with the employer, the perceived relationship, tangible or palpable, perceived, whatever you want to call it, is the one that's going to get the fruits of the labor. People, go ahead and work ISP, remote, do it what you want. But if you're on a playing field where your performance is the same as someone who goes into work, the person who goes into work is going to beat you every day of the week.
Okay, but
straight from perception.
We're getting off topic. There.
I'm not getting off topic.
You are
My
totally
point,
off
the
topic.
point of that commentary is it's called fortifying the relationship with the employer. You basically said, what is the point of me, not you, but someone in general, working longer after hours when they're on salary and they don't get anything for the extra hours? And my response to that, it fortifies the relationship with the person who has the access to professional verticality.
Okay. I think, though, that you're missing...
John Blair comment. Go ahead, make your comment. I'll go to John Blair's. Go ahead.
I was just going to say...
I knew
think
this
that,
would be a heated topic.
I think that you're missing the... You're talking about people working side by side, but oftentimes in larger corporations, it's not people working side by side. It's someone getting, a call from the guy upstairs saying, why aren't you working harder? And it's not about a relationship when you read about a company dropping, 2,000 employees to make a little bit extra money for the stockholders. And you're saying that they should have been working harder the whole time, or they should have been working elbow to elbow with their boss. But the fact of the matter is, some people do all of that, and then they get, canned.
Yeah, pink slipped.
And
Darwinistic. This comment comes in. John Blair.
Mm-hmm.
Last night I was emailing a redline version of a contract at 10:30 at night. But in fairness to Judah, I think there are two types of information we're talking about. Transactional information is the flood. When you are asked to review a contract, that's transactional. But when you are deciding on whether to invest in a property, you're looking at IRR, cap rate, etc. That requires a much different type of critical analytical thinking. I think both can provide value. This is what I will say from in the deal-making space. Getting text messages left and right here. In the deal-making space, waiting, I'll choose it, time kills deals. Time kills deals. There's a lot of things kill deals. Floating debt, floating rates, a changing market. Keith likes to say red tape.
Yeah.
This zoning thing.
Right.
Time kills deals. The best deal makers are the ones that don't allow independent variables to impact negotiations, to impact deal flow. And the best deal makers that I've seen in business for myself for 18 years in May, self-employed for 18 years in May, the best ones I've seen in nearly 17 years, almost 18 years, call it 18 years in May, are the ones that are quick to turn around requests. And that requires 6 a.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And you know what? I'll just say this. I'll close on this because I knew this topic was, I would love to get the UVA professor on there. There's going to be people that work around the clock on their phone all the time on their vacation, and there's going to be people that work 9 to 5. The 9 to 5er is going to have an extremely difficult time topping the around the clock worker if both parties are motivated by house, white picket fence, retirement savings, investment property, stock portfolio, disposable income. If that's not a motivator for the 9 to 5er, then the 9 to 5er is going to have a way better life. If the 9 to 5er is not motivated by those wealth metrics, then the 9 to 5er is going to have a phenomenal quality of life. But if the 9 to 5er is motivated by house, white picket fence, vacations, cars, tuition, retirement portfolio, investment property, whatever it may be, then the 9 to 5er is going to have an impossible time keeping up with the around-the-clock worker. And that's going to burn some bridges. That's going to piss some people off. Kevin Yancey. I mean, Kevin Yancey is obviously irate here. I've worked longer than you've been alive, Jerry. How old, Kevin, how old do you think I am, by the way? I've worked longer than you've been alive. Never feeling you have enough will literally drive you to an early grave. What have you accomplished then other than making your family's life easier without you? That is really important to me, Kevin. It's knowing that I've made my family's life easier without me. That is one of the things that drives me, Kevin. Sorry, Jerry, you're brainwashed, Kevin Yancey says. The lifestyle you speak of was the way your dad or granddad. None of the perks they enjoyed are remotely available to anyone now. Tell me someone that has a pension, not a 401k or a Roth. I have all those, Jerry, work 45 hours a week, and you know what I do. I appreciate that, Kevin Yancey. Appreciate that. Carol Thorpe, it's a cliche, but also a time-honored truth. No one lies on their deathbed bemoaning, I wish I had worked more. 100%, Carol Thorpe. 100%. Barbara Becker-Tilley, effort is no longer appreciated or acknowledged the way it once was. 100% true. 100% true, Barbara Becker-Tilley. Barbara Becker-Tilley says, I love your show and obviously the way you appreciate your employees, but you are sadly out of touch to the commonplace employer. We can also say if it takes most employees 9 to 5 to finish a job, the brown noser that stay late can be assumed incompetent for taking longer than the average hours. I don't think that's I don't think that's the case in a lot of employers. But I respect that comment. Suzanne Daly, do you think the distinction is between business owners versus non-business owners, employees? Business owners always grind on off hours to keep things moving. I think that's a big distinction. 100% that's a big distinction. Suzanne Daly, 100%. Maria Marshall Barnes, very heated topic. That's why we picked it. People care about different things. I have been completely thankful working from home and being available for my kids. I have also seen many employees be completely disposable after doing great jobs. I believe in a healthy balance for what makes you happy. Respect that comment, Maria Marshall Barnes. For us, it's important to my wife and I think she's watching the program, that she's a stay-at-home mom when our kids are young. Something that was important to us.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I grind. We could spend a whole show on that topic. It's 1:36 and we got to go make some money. Speaking of money, what are some other topics that we have? Did we get to all the topics?
I don't know if we got to all of them.
Chris Kabash, we're going to close this deal here. It's already closed. We got the documents, DocuSign. I will call you, Chris.
We've got CVille Area Transit looking for someone to handle their ads. We've got...
Let's save that one for tomorrow. Let's give some love to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. 61 years in business, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion. The Vermillions are 5 generations in Albemarle County. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply is a 3-generation business. Andrew and John running it now. They're on High Street, and they're located online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. the Vermillion family in Charlottesville Sanitary Supply are keeping our family swimming pool crystal clear blue. Absolutely beautifully blue, the water, chlorine blue. Water testing, just beautiful water, thanks to John and Andrew Vermillion. They have a mechanic on site for your vacuum fixing, for your pool robot fixing.
Yep.
And they have all the sanitary supplies you need for your house, your business, your investment properties. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, guys. John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion. Support them. Save the CAT buses for tomorrow. Charlottesville Area Transit is recruiting third-party ad agencies to manage the ad placement on their buses.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever would I fill a request for proposal to manage the advertising on a bus that goes around Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Ever. Ever. One time someone approached me. True story. Here's a true story. Entrepreneur. We have these business owners come into our shop all the time. They say, Jerry, I want to run some stuff by you. This was the guy's business idea. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. I want to put adhesive advertising and branding on all the trash cans in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. I want to go to the trash businesses and bring adhesive, like a billboard, like a banner, and paste them on the trash cans. And I want to give the trash companies a percentage of the branding, the ad revenue. And I want to say to the homeowners with the trash cans, if you allow us to put this banner on your trash can, then your trash service, the ad revenue will help cover the cost of your trash service. And then this particular entrepreneur was going to take a percentage of the top line revenue. So you had an entrepreneur whose business was putting advertising banners on trash cans. He said the trash company would get a percentage of the revenue. The homeowner would win because his or her trash service, the costs, most of it would be covered, if not all of it. And then he would keep the revenue that was what was left. I said to him straight up, I said this. So you're telling me you want to go to business owners in this community and put their branding and advertising and their call to action messages on trash? He said, well, a lot of people see those. I said to him, you're telling me you're going to go into businesses in Charlottesville with a rate card and pitch them a plan to put their company logo and their company call to action message on trash cans?
Not to mention you'd have to go around to every single trash can and apply a sticker?
His plan was if people opted into it, the branding and advertising would be mailed to them.
That's not going to go wrong.
What business is going to want to be co-branded with trash?
And who's going to make sure that the people that get sent that signage are actually putting it on their trash can?
I relay that story to you this way. What business is going to want their advertising and branding on a bus that is 60, 70% empty? That has a reputation of being inconsistent with its route running, a reputation of having bus stops that are not covered by true bus stops with roofs or places to sit. Some bus stops are just a pole in the ground.
I mean, does that affect the ads on the bus?
Connotation, subconsciously. Is the reputation of Charlottesville Area Transit a positive one? Or is the reputation of Charlottesville Area Transit missed routes, inconsistent with its delivery, late, unreliable, empty, catering to a crowd of people that don't have the disposable income?
Okay, but to play devil's advocate, do those connotations mesh up? Like, if you thought all those things about buses and you saw an ad campaign on a bus, would you associate the ad campaign with a bus that's not always... I mean...
Would you associate an ad campaign that was on a trash can with trash?
No. When I see a bus, I don't know if it's on time or not.
You would in a meeting, and you don't, no disrespect, you're not sitting in a lot of these meetings. You would in a meeting with a business coming in here, sit at a conference room table and say, yes, I think it's a good idea for you to put your business logo and your call to action message on trash.
I didn't say I thought it was a good idea.
Why do you think it's not a good idea?
What do we say to clients who are thinking about advertising? You want to touch your potential customers at least 7 times?
7 times.
And does it matter if somebody sees a logo, a call to action, whatever, on the side of a trash can? They're not going to spend 20 minutes thinking about, oh, I just saw a trashy company on a trashy trash can. They're going to see it and immediately stop thinking about it. And it's just going to be one of the points where they are touched by the company's message.
Respectfully disagree.
I'm not saying, again, that it's a good idea, but it's just one in a toolbox if somebody chose to do that. And I think a bus, like when I see buses, I don't know if they're on time. I don't know if they're making their...
What is the connotation of CAT in this community? Charlottesville Area Transit.
But
what is the brand?
But I see buses all the time, and I don't immediately start...
But you do subconsciously. Subconsciously you do.
No, I don't subconsciously think about...
Subconsciously, a lot of people do.
Whether the bus service is good or bad.
You don't think subconsciously people with the trash reference are saying, trash business?
I don't think it... I think you're... Some people may. I think most people are just going to...
disagree. That's what makes this talk show great. Agree to disagree.
Fair enough.
How many businesses would pay thousands of dollars to have their brand on trash?
Probably not a whole lot.
Okay. How many businesses in town would pay thousands of dollars to have their brand on Charlottesville Area Transit?
I honestly don't know.
Well, I can tell you. Sean Tubbs has fantastic reporting on this. And this is a great way for us to close, because speaking of money, we got to go make some money. This is from Sean Tubbs' Charlottesville Community Substack. Mm-hmm. I cite him. He does great work. Sean Tubbs, you do great work.
Yeah.
Charlottesville Area Transit is looking for a third-party advertising agency to manage its advertising on its buses. Listen to this. Charlottesville Area Transit earned $51,385 in revenue from bus advertising in fiscal year 2022. That dropped to $12,168 in fiscal year 2023 and $5,700 in fiscal year 2024. So in 2022 fiscal year, they earned $51,000 in ads on the buses. And in fiscal year 2024, $5,700. That's like a 90% drop. Mm-hmm. Now, Charlottesville Area Transit and City Hall says, we don't have anyone that can manage this and has the skill set to manage this. So that's why you saw it go from $51,000 in 2022 to $5,700 in 2024.
There may have been a lot of lost opportunities.
Lost opportunities is what they're saying, because we don't have anybody managing it.
Yeah.
My counterpoint to that is, it's an effing bus that has a slot for a banner that any company in town like Sir Speedy of Central Virginia can have the banner made and installed on the bus. This is the easiest thing in the whole wide world. The easiest marketing campaign ever. Put a banner on a bus and have it drive around town. What are you talking about, City Hall? And then I also want to highlight this. The $51,000 that was done in 2022 for advertising on buses is absolutely a pathetic number, and you know that as well as I do. We are managing 5x that, no, 8x, I'll give you an X, 6.5 to 7x that a month in client dollars now. A month. And that was their yearly total in 2022. That shows you that businesses don't have any perceived value proposition of branding on a bus. All those buses have a sign that is on them. If you would like to advertise on CAT, Here's the phone number. You've seen the signs. They have them on there. You want to advertise on this bus? Here's the phone number. They drive around town. That's like the advertising. There's digital advertising agencies that pop up in this town all the time. They're like, oh, we'll manage your brand for you. We'll do all this. Then you look at the advertising agency, and they have like 17 likes on their Facebook page and 43 followers on their Instagram. Who in God's name is going to use an advertising agency that has 17 likes on their advertising agency Facebook page and 44 followers on their Instagram? Look at what I Love CVille has. What are the most noteworthy and time-tested and visible brands in Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia? The number one most noteworthy, time-tested, and visible brand in Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia is what?
UVA.
The University of Virginia. Number two, what would you say is number two?
Oh, that's a tougher one.
I'd probably say Bodo's Bagels.
I guess.
What would you say?
I don't know if there is another brand that even comes close to UVA.
Of course there's none that come close to UVA. That's not the point. What's number two off the top of your head, time-tested, noteworthy brands in Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia?
Sure, Bodo's.
Probably Bodo's. I would say Bodo's, right? Beloved. I can make a humble, realistic, and reasonable argument that our brand, I Love CVille, that has been around for 18 years in May, is one of the most noteworthy, visible, time-tested brands in this 300,000 person market.
Okay.
Easily. The reach that are backed by metrics that we have, analytical reach, Facebook metrics, Twitter metrics, Google metrics, all of them. Easily.
Okay.
The bus drives around with a sign, if you want your ad on here, call us and we'll put it on there. And they got 5,700 in fiscal year 2024. 5,700. Like, why are you doing this? Or is it that bad? All right, we went way long today. It is 80 minutes straight without commercial break or getting up from this chair. You're not getting this anywhere else, ladies and gentlemen. Water cooler of conversation. The I Love CVille show. I Love CVille. I thought you did a hell of a job.
Thank you.
I love when you bring it like this. You've really been bringing it. I love when you back it up with commentary. You don't back down. I love it. You did a great job. Fantastic job. Viewers and listeners, if you like the show, tell somebody about it. Monday through Friday, 12:30 to 1:30. We have a new show in the works here. Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Fry. Do we know Dr. Fry's first name? I should know that.
I don't.
We should know that, right? Are we looking it up real quick together?
Yep.
Me too. The Everyday Faith Podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Wayne Fry, the senior pastor at Faith Christian Center International. Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Wayne Fry are going to launch a new show, the Everyday Faith Podcast. They co-host this podcast together. They discuss various topics, drawing parallels between ancient stories and modern-day life. Jeff Gaffney and senior pastor at Faith Christian Center, Dr. Wayne Fry, launching a new show on the I Love CVille network. And a week from Friday, ladies and gentlemen, a week from tomorrow, Scott Smith and Fred Missel, a debate on Real Talk with Keith Smith. That's going to be a fantastic debate. Probably the most well-watched debate that's happened this election cycle. Because we're going to put it on every social media platform possible.
Yeah.
On a network that has a hell of a lot of followers. All right, that's the talk show. Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller. So long, everybody.